All right, guys, we're here at Vortex Optics. Got invited out to have a really special episode here for you. We're actually going to be able to see the manufacturing process of the Vortex AMG and the other AMG products that are made here at the facility. So we're going to give you a full-on tour. Tucker's going to take us through, show us kind of the whole process of everything, and give you a behind-the-scenes that I'm not sure you've really seen anywhere else. So stay tuned throughout this episode. Tucker's going to show us what we got going on, but here we are in the showroom.
Yeah, if you don't know, the 1 to 10 is the new AMG optic, just releasing here in 2026. It's a very short, very light 1 to 10 low power variable optic. So that is made in the USA, most of it made right here in Barneveld, Wisconsin. We did have some partners throughout the US, but it's 100% US optic, and we do manufacture a lot of that here at the headquarters. I'm excited to show you guys today.
Cool, let's go take a look at it.
Cool.
All right, now we're in obviously the machine shop. I think I guess everybody watching, you're my dream to have something like this to play with, but what are we looking at here, Tucker?
So this is the home of the Vortex machine shop, aka the home of the new AMG 1 to 10. Our first AMG scope was a 6 to 24 long range scope. It was only a 4-power erector system, so it was a little easier to start off with. Well, the guys have gotten really good over the last decade or so. Now they've made a 1 to 10 scope in a very short manner, and all of that comes right here in Barneveld, Wisconsin.
That's awesome.
So we'll show them around a little bit, start to finish, and hopefully they enjoy the show.
I love it. All right, we're out here at the beginning of the process for AMG scopes and all the other stuff that's made in-house. Looks like a bunch of metal here. Looks pretty nice stuff here.
Yeah, nothing fancy. This is kind of where the process starts. They, import the high-grade aluminum. They have to grade it. There's different variations in order to hold certain tolerances. So if you guys don't know, everything with the AMG title is made in the United States, from the lenses to the housing, everything. And on the AMG 1 to 10 in particular, everything is made here in-house minus the glass. We do work with a partner in the United States to make it. But this is where it starts. They start as raw tubes of aluminum, and it'll, we'll kind of show you through the process and what would be the end result by the end of this video.
All right, guys, we are in this area of screws.
Where are we?
Where are we?
So these are our sprint machines. They make all of the small parts. To make optics, a lot of people don't understand the tolerances you actually have to keep in order to keep these things consistent throughout a line of optics. So it's really easy to make one really good anything. It's really hard to make 5, 10, 50,000 of them. A lot of that starts with some of the machines that we use. These are going to be the machines that make all the small parts. So they use brass, stainless, Delrin, a slew of different metals and plastics, but they make very tiny things capable of holding 5 microns or so. If you guys don't know, that's about the size of a red blood cell. Typically gunsmiths work in thou or 10 thou. We're actually working in microns on a lot of these machines. These are some of the machines that do that, and they make there's a ton of screws inside of an optical system, and that's where these guys are made here. So we'll move along to the bigger stuff as we go, I reckon.
Yeah. Well, so when we're talking made in the U.S., we're talking like down to the little integral pieces of this.
Everything, yeah.
That's cool.
Originally, the AMG 1 to 10 was made for a SAS contract, Special Forces overseas, and there's a lot of regulations that work with that. I don't really understand all of that, but I know they have to be made in certain areas.
That's cool.
But the AMG is 100% made almost here, except for some of the electronics and glass is made in other facilities, but all United States. But everything manufactured, aluminum, screws, plastics are all right here in this building.
That's so cool. So when you're buying an AMG scope, this is it.
This is it, yeah.
Cool. Well, we'll move to the next area.
Love it.
All right, well, this is part of the pieces we were just looking at. So, Tucker, how do they take this now into a scope?
So there's a couple operations to go from raw stock bar steel, which is what he has there, and that probably weighs, I don't know, 7 to 10 pounds if I just had to guess. They go in the first machine here. These are some of the larger machines that bore it and do a lot of the internal cuts. The Operation 1, this is what you get out. So you got your eyepiece pretty much. You're broached all the way through. You've got some of the internal threading on both sides, but by no means is this what a scope looks like. So a person will actually have to come grab this, drop it into the second machine for what's known as Op 2, Operation 2. This would be the end of the same one we were just looking at. It's just a cut in half piece. So you can see it has everything set up for the erector tube and all I don't know what they actually call that. Some kind of, it diffracts the light as it comes into the scope so you don't get unwanted light into the system, and everything for the diopter's all prepped. And again, that's just this guy. And once it goes from here to Op2, this is kind of what you get out. So a finished scope tube. Of course, we need to add all the guts and everything inside of it, but if you can feel the weight difference from the first bar to that.
That's crazy.
We're cutting away roughly 98% of that to end up with what is a one-piece scope tube.
That's wild.
And that thing weighs, a couple of 6 ounces or so. It's not a lot.
It's crazy. I mean, you don't see these. I mean, most people don't see them in this form, but it's unbelievable, like how lightweight and how precise these are, and it's
and
really
so
cool.
What that is, that's the first AMG that's just sitting here on our demo kit. This is the 6-24 AMG.
Yep.
So once this is done, this would be kind of the back end of it, right? The heart and soul of any optical system is going to be the erector housing, erector assembly, and that's what this is here. So how it works, with the first focal plane, your reticle is actually going to be in front of all of that.
Yep.
And these are going to be your zoom cells. So as you turn the magnification, you're going to see those two lenses move at different speeds through the process.
Wow.
Have you ever noticed on here how the numbers get a lot tighter together as we turn farther up the magnification range?
That's cool.
And you can see how they get closer together. So if this were going to be a second focal plane optic where the reticle doesn't get bigger and smaller, the reticle would be behind the zoom cell. And if it was illuminated, you'd also have the wire kind of sticking out of the back of it.
Wow.
Does that make sense?
That's cool.
So how it works is it sets inside of here. That reticle assembly, or the erector assembly, actually sits inside here. It's kind of like a shoulder socket. So it's free floating in here. Your elevation turret and your windage turret actually control that, move it up, down, left, and right to 0. And a lot of people don't know, under recoil, that thing will actually vibrate. But by the time the rifle has settled down, the erector assembly is actually aligned back to hold 0, right? You hear that term a lot. Does this thing hold 0? That's what it's talking about. Does it return back to where you left it before and after the shot?
And it's unbelievable because like Tucker got me into PRS. He shoots more professionally. I shoot more recreationally and enjoying it. But it's unbelievable like what we put those scopes through. You probably even can cut to it. We actually grab the scope, like how strong these things are too. We're grabbing them by the scope, moving them around some of these barricades and stuff. But you know, it's unbelievable. Because you don't see the inside of these things every day, but it's unbelievable what goes into them, and it's really fascinating for me to see that.
Yeah, most people don't see a scope in this unless they've been on some sort of optic tour. There are some scopes that are actually a 2-piece design. Most of the higher end scopes, there's many manufacturers out there that do make a 1-piece scope tube, and it really enhances the durability and strength of just the whole body itself.
And I guess like when you guys are building these scopes, like you guys offer the best warranty in the business, like literally no questions asked. So the better you guys can do at this too, the less repairs,
saves
the less
money
cost in the long run.
So this is the operation to build the scope tube. Next we're going to go over to post-op. Chrissy's going to talk about kind of how they go from this to what you see when you go to a store. So we can head over there now.
Awesome. All right, we're here at Vortex Optics with Christy. She's in charge of all of this stuff. So
this is my area. This is post-op. Everything that comes off the machine shop comes on over here to me. We'll start off on our first over here. We go to our ultrasonic. Everything that comes off the machine shop over there comes through ultrasonic. We have a high degreaser in here with no rushing water, so there's no chip stings or anything on any of our aluminum. So you can actually hear that going off. When it's done, after that, what we do is anything that's external usually gets deburred. And what that does is it goes through our mass deburring machine here. And what it is it has 4 locking barrels. And what those locking barrels is almost like a Ferris wheel. So we take this cutting machines, this material right here, we put it in there, and what it does is the 4 barrels in there lock into place, and it rotates just like a Ferris wheel. So when your stomach goes up, it goes around and comes down, and what that does is it goes down through the parts, and I'll show you here. So what it's gonna do is it's gonna go in through here, because there's all kinds of jaggeds and ridges here, and it'll actually take off some of that aluminum to make very nice shiny parts, and you'll actually get really smooth parts that come through there. So anything that has any ridges or anything, that is what that's going through. We have lots of different materials we use, from ceramic to porcelain to a polishing pin, a rapid cut. We also do all of our own tooling here, not just parts. We also assemble and disassemble all of our scopes here. We also do quality checks here. So we make sure all of our parts are within round and specs, otherwise they will not fit onto our parts. We do a quality inspection here. And then after that, anything that's external is going to go through our blaster. And what our blaster does is it shoots a high-powered, about 40 PSI, and it's a very fine glass media. And what that glass media does is it hits our aluminum, and it makes honeycombs into our aluminum. So what that does is those honeycombs will actually suck up the dye and make a matte finish versus a satin finish. So I actually have it here, and I'll show you this, but it's going to go in very, very metallic, and it's going to come out with a nice matte look to it. So we have 12 osculating fixtures. They go in as aluminum raw, and then you can see the glass media. It's very, very fine here. It's very powdery fine, and that is what creates our pockets or our honeycombs in for the anodizing process. So when you get that nice matte look on your scope, this is actually what does it. After this, everything will be set out. It'll be going out for anodizing. When it comes back for anodizing, we look for blemishes, any cosmetic defects or anything like that. And then anything that needs to be lasered is going to go through our Laser 101. So we'll show you how this works. It is custom designed by Vortex. So it feeds all of our parts in on a moving thing. So we have a conveyor right here, and it's going to load all of our trays. All these trays here are all designed here at Vortex for each and every part that needs to be lasered. These little gray things on here are called RFI tags. RFI tags, they hold our key to our programming. So it'll be belt fed down through here. And what it's going to do is it's going to hit a relay. This relay is going to tell it when to stop and when to start, making sure there's no other parts in there. Then what it'll do is the head will go down and it'll come in, and I have it all set to go, so you'll see it move here in a minute. But you can see the black box on it. That's a camera. So what that camera does is that camera is looking for a profile of a part here. And I will show you that. So right now we're doing turret dials. So that camera is actually looking for this little donut right here, the profile of that donut. Once it finds that donut, it'll actually reach it down, flip it upside down, it's gonna lock it into place, and then it's gonna come over the ring light. That ring light has a precision camera in it. What that precision camera is doing is it's going to look for a key indicator. So on this part, you can actually see on this part here, because this one's already done, on the knurling there is a tiny little bit bigger knurling cut out. That is our key indicator on these turret dials. So that actually looks for that, and it is actually telling our laser, you need to rotate 20 degrees, and then that's where you're going to start, and that's where you're going to start lasering. So I'm going to start it up here, and you'll see it because it moves really, really fast. You're going to see it come down and pick the part up. You're going to see it lock it into place, and then it's going to look for that key indicator. Once it finds it, you'll see it go over the glass there. That's where our laser is, and that's where it's going to start lasering. You should hear it come and pop on here in a second. You can hear it go up, and you'll see once it does the inside, it'll actually flip it around and do the whole outside. You may see a bead of light. That is actually the anodizing being etched off. This is not paint or anything. This is actually an etch, like a mini tattoo into your aluminum. So, and that will turn it white. So you should see it here. See, there's your ball of light there. Once it's done, it'll actually go ahead and it'll put it right back on the tray and load it right back in. It'll actually do all those all in one shot. So it takes about 4 hours to do a whole tray of these because this is our longest running part. It's about 1:34 seconds for each part.
That's awesome.
Once it's done, it'll actually kick out the tray and it'll load all the other trays onto it.
So you just set up all the different trays and automatically do them all?
Each tray has a different jaw to it and everything like that. So these parts take a certain jaw. Other parts might take, so I have to change the jaws, change the trays, and then belt feed it in. But other than that, it does all the work itself.
Can you run this machine when no one's here? Do
Yes.
you always okay, so you
Nope.
can do it.
So at night, I can actually load this.
Yep.
And then at night, it can run, like this is our longest running part. So I'll put 4 trays in. It can do about 4 trays at night.
Yep.
And it'll run about 4 to 5 hours for each tray. And then they'll be all done when I come back
in the morning?
Yeah, yep. It'll come in and they're all done in the morning.
Does it have a name?
You do not want to know.
Okay.
No, I call it Beast 101.
Beast
I call it
101.
Beast 101 because it does not always like me.
Oh, okay.
Sometimes it will.
So you have a relationship with this
I have
robot.
a very good relationship with this thing. Yes.
Oh, I love it.
When I can't find parts in the morning, but it's a great running machine. It was custom designed by Vortex so that could be universal for every part.
Yeah.
So most companies will have multiple lasers and have to change it from one part to do a curve, a round, a profile. This can do it all in one.
Oh.
So that is really nice. And it's, like I said, you can load it and let it run onto it. So yes, but Beast 101 is what I call it.
I love it.
And everything on that.
Well,
so
thank you so much for showing us what you do.
Yeah.
I really appreciate the end product that you helped develop, and we enjoy it at the ranges and competitions, everything we do with them.
Yeah.
But you know, the people behind this are what really make everything happen. So really appreciate what you do for Vortex, and thanks for showing us this awesome setup you have. And I'm not sure where we're going next, but Tucker will take us to another the next step in the process.
These are going to be the coordinate measuring machines, CMM machines. So anytime you have a machine shop, you have to be able to measure the parts. Some of these CMMs are actually capable of measuring down to a half a micron. They're not all the same, some bigger, some smaller. They're all going to be on a polished granite slab. It kind of works like an air hockey table, so there's no ball bearings to wear down. Everything is polished perfectly flat, perfectly smooth, so they can get those tight tolerances measured. So anytime you make a lot of something, it makes it easier to make sure you're staying true throughout the production. So a lot of people don't know a first focal plane reticle is actually like a microscopic deal. It's very, very small. This is a high power telescope on the screen next to it, so you can see what's on there. But that reticle is first focal plane, so it's going to get bigger and smaller with your magnification range. But as it sits on a piece of glass, you can see how small that is. So in order to make that accurately, to make the MRAD or MOA measure true, you can imagine the precision that comes along with that. So guys, this is the final step. Once they get all the parts and pieces manufactured and made, these racks behind us here is like a grocery store of scope parts. Everything for the AMG is in here now. That's kind of what the main priority is, what they're working on. They also do some repairs and things like that. But the final step, they get all the parts and pieces, they lot it out per scope, and they assemble that final scope. This will go into the next section where they box things, but these guys in here are highly trained. They work with very small tools, magnifying glass. Everything in there is a strict clean room. I think the requirement's like less than 1 part per million. Quick story was we actually had a test done in here, and they brought one of the little particulate testers and set it in there for a week, and they came in to check it on Monday, and they actually thought it was broken. And then they walked outside of the room and it started going off. So they keep it that clean. Imagine when you look through a scope, right? It's a magnifying glass is basically what it is. If you get a piece of dust in there, when you look through a scope, it'll actually cover a target at 100 yards. So inside of that optic needs to be perfectly clean, and you do that by having a very expensive clean room.
Looks very, very high tech, so cool. Now, I'm guessing after this we're getting close to the final assembly, so or the final boxing read per se. So
that would be the next thing. Then we're shipping them out.
Let's go see where it is. Yeah.
Awesome.
All right, now it looks like we're in the final stages because there's boxes all of a sudden. So what's this area, Tucker?
So we just went through, the manufacturing process and then the assembly portion of that. And this would be the last stage, final inspection. Each one of these AMG scopes will go through 4 sets of eyeballs post-manufacturing. They'll do all the checks and everything in the room we just looked at, and everything will get packaged up, inspected, make sure everything's in the box. They give you a little sign card, and this will be actually what gets shipped out to the end user. So if you order one of these, this is the table it come from. Usually there's a lot more on this box, but they've probably gone out to dealers or sold, so that's a good sign for us, and we really hope people that get them enjoy them.
I'll say we bought a bunch of them, so we should have them in stock still. But yeah, it's funny because we have some at the store now, but this is literally the stuff that comes on the inside here. Owner's manual, all the fixings to make this thing final. So
yeah, once it goes from here, it ends up in either a bigger box or on a pallet or shipped out in single units to guys like you. They actually dug this like 30 feet down so it doesn't tower above the rest of the thing in Barneveld.
Well, we will.
Yeah, this is the new warehouse. We built it a couple years ago. It got finalized. I think it's a couple 100,000 square feet.
Jeez.
But all of this is going to be the small pick items. So anytime somebody goes on our website and orders some apparel or a military order, anything small, this is where they get that sort of thing. We'll head over to where like the pallets and everything are stored. Get your fingers out of there. We'll head up to the top. All right, guys, this is the headquarters warehouse. This is our main warehouse. When we built the original Vortex HQ, this version of it in 2018, we originally had a very small warehouse that we thought we would grow into over the next 20 years. 3 years later, we had to start building on this because inventory all over the machine shop that we just went into was filled with boxes. There was boxes in the office. So very quickly, they started building this version. It's really cool. There's, I don't know, maybe 50 or so people that work in this. They'll pick the boxes from anywhere on the stacks, drop it on the conveyor belt. The conveyor belt is kind of run with RFID technology. They'll scan the chip. It'll tell them what order it's attached to, what's in the box, and where it's headed. And it'll all get shipped out from that section right there. All of the returns are going to come in right below us here at those two desks. I think it's 2 to 3% of everything we sell, which is a pretty small number. We like to keep that pretty low. And then behind you there is all the repair departments, binocular, rifle scope. But everything that comes shipped to a store, typically we ship to dealers or military, law enforcement. You guys typically buy from your local dealer. But everything that you see Vortex comes out of this building behind us. So
awesome. So yeah, but it's really cool to see. I mean, I put the orders in. It's just so easy. I call Carrie, our rep, and I think you know Carrie pretty well.
Yeah.
She literally puts it in. Sometimes I drop ship to some of you who might be customers. If I don't have it in stock, they'll actually drop ship it for me. So it comes right out of here, right to your doorstep. So.
Yeah, one of the cool things they did when they built this warehouse was they switched to an electronic system. So before this, which I think finished in 2021, everything was paper invoice, paper picked. We still have people doing the packing and picking, but everything's electronic now. And I know a lot of the people had a hard time adjusting, but now we can get stuff out, in a day or maybe 2 at the most if it's a big order. But it really streamlined the process from order to delivery.
Yeah, that's cool. It's unbelievable how clean everything is too. I don't know. Smiley, you probably see it too while you're walking around. Like, there's not a thing out of place. It's like, it's unbelievable. So it's really cool. This much space, this much stuff. It really shows the quality they put into everything. And I'm sure, with how happy all these employees are, there's got to be like a cool break room around here.
Yeah, I was actually going to show you the little break room. So this is, it's separated now from the main building. I was actually going to show you guys the break room that they have. So that since they're out here by themselves, they actually built a nice little spot for them to hang out and have lunch. So we'll go check it out quick.
See what they got. So cool.
Sweet.
So after that long work of watching everybody else work and build scopes, I need a break.
Yeah, so this is one of the break rooms they built. Like I said, they used to be attached to the main building. So when they built this, they tried to give them a place where they can, relax since they're kind of out here on their own island. This one's modeled after a Wisconsin supper club. It has all the list of all the different, the different supper clubs on the wall, and a dartboard for me to take your money if you'd like.
Sales.
You want to? You want to? Okay, you're first.
Only bullseyes. Ooh. Oh, getting closer.
Ooh.
Bullseyes.
Yeah, well, close.
Oh. No. Hey.
That's 3 bullseyes.
Just shooting. Well, we did pretty well, but what's up with this?
Don't worry about that guy.
Thank you for the tour. Appreciate it. Everybody at Vortex. It's cool because when you walk through this place, you see the passion on everybody. It's just they have a love for this sport. They have a love for the industry. It really shows in the quality of the products and everything. So real huge thank you to Vortex. A special shout out to Seamus and Sheena for letting this happen. And really appreciate everybody here at Vortex, and Tucker, as always.
Yeah, one thing, Dan Hamilton was the original founder of Vortex.
Yep.
It started as a binocular company, Eagle Optics, turned into Vortex. But one thing he's always kind of kept and instilled in everybody that works here is that the customer comes first, customer's king. The care, the VIP warranty, all of those things that we feel like makes Vortex what it is. And the hiring process here is pretty slow because we want to make sure and get the right people here, for people like Christy and people that you see around, to make sure they have a smile on their face and they actually enjoy what they're doing. So we appreciate dealers like you coming out and helping us out. Thanks, guys.
Well, let's go shoot them.
That's right.